Welcome to the show, Dr. Nativo. You are one of Central America's most outstanding talents, a musical sound combining reggae, hip-hop, and pre-Hispanic instruments. Your lyrics containing deep spiritual, social consciousness and a message to empower and to have purpose. Influenced by your father, a Cuban musician from an early age, you reconnected with your heritage and studied at the National School of Art before moving to Barcelona, where you've immersed yourself into the street music scene, becoming a renowned MC. There's loads to talk about with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do tell us more.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm here in Mexico, in Chiapas. It's the border between Guatemala, where I'm from, Central America. Most people know it as Guatemala, but Guatemala, the word mala in Spanish has a bad connotation. It's like the word means bad. Mala means bad.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we kind of like did a shift and change it from Mala to Maya because it's the land of the Maya. Yes.
Okay.
So this is where I am here in the border between Guatemala and Mexico.
I was just going to say about your debut album. Tell us a little bit about the album. You released it in 2018, I believe.
I released the album in 2018 in the Lincoln Center in New York City with the label Stone Tree Records. Producer Ivan Duran. He's a legendary producer of Garifuna music, and it was amazing to be able to present it in New York City, for the debut. It was an amazing experience. We had also Garifuna, Maya, and crew in the stage was Puerto Rican, Afro-American. It was a huge band that backed me up that night. So, yeah, it was pretty legendary.
Tell us more about where you come from and the music scene there.
Well, I come from Guatemala, like I say, Central America, so the music scene in there is controlled a lot by the beer companies. It's weird, but that's how it works, so you gotta if you want to live from music and be able to make a living, that's what I mean, of music also too, you have to sign contracts with the beer companies and promote that. And my music has nothing to do with that. My music is about elevating our spirits and about conscience, being conscious and a re-evolutionary way of thinking. So my music for the music scene in Guatemala is not so, it's not so suitable because I don't sell those products,
Right.
So I decided to do it on my own, independently, exactly. And in 2012, I signed with the record label Stone Tree Records. And that's when my career picked up, and I started doing my tours outside of Guatemala and all of that. Yeah. But the music scene, like I say, is very controlled, but there is, of course, hip hop, there is reggae, there is all kinds of genres and subcultures in there in Guatemala also too. It's just very hard to do that as a living. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your reggae, where's your influence come from? Yeah.
He was a Cuban musician, immigrant from Cuba to Guatemala. He used to have all kinds of music, but he loved Bob Marley. So definitely he was my introduction to reggae music. But later on, I left home a very young age. I started traveling at 15. I left my home. And by 17, I ended up in India. And in there, I met a lot of travelers that were into a lot of roots reggae and the other artists that I never heard before, also Peter Tosh, Bonnie Wyler, but independently, and a bunch of different, roots reggae. So in the end, it was very crazy, but I got into the real reggae, and I started playing reggae music, and it became a big part of the initial of my career. So I still do, but I mix it with cumbia. So it's kind of like the Latin cousin of reggae, cumbia. So I do reggae cumbia. It's my mix.
Nice.
What was it about Bob Marley's lyrics that resonated with you?
My father is an exile from Cuba. He actually exiled from Fidel Castro's crazy time in there. I don't want to get into any political stuff, but definitely Bob Marley influenced me in the sense of not just making songs, but making something with a message that actually touch the people and change people's minds. My music It's not it's good to dance. It's super good to dance, and you can make a party with it. But there is a message in there that if you actually listen to the lyrics, you get it. But that's a big influence from Mr. Bob Marley, definitely.
Mhm. And what's some of the titles to your songs?
Well, for example, there is one called Pa que se levanten. That means for y'all to stand up. You know,
Okay.
it's kind of like get up,
Right.
stand up, sort of.
Right.
Pa que
Yeah.
se levanten, you know. So that means for the people to wake up and just like throw away the control of the TV and get
Mhm.
out in the streets and speak up for their rights and all of a little bit of that message with a hip hop vibe, you know.
Mhm.
And then we have songs like Guatemaya that is like my anthem. Like the biggest song I have is Guatemaya, and it's kind of like exactly what we did is to reivindicate the name of our country with that song. You know? The lyrics are talking about like going deep into the roots, back into the roots of your own culture,
Mhm.
and find out the richness that is in there. That is a lot. The Maya is one of them. Also, Candela means fire. It's like a candle, but it's more about like the inner fire. The
Mm.
Cubans always say Candela, muchacho. You know, it's like light that fire, that inner fire to push you forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the lyrics have like, and they're all translated in Google in English. If you guys look for Dr. Nativo lyrics, you can search and find out more.
And how many people you have in your band?
Right now we're 7 in this
Oh,
moment.
okay.
I was for a long time, almost 5 years. I had to be in Miami because I got stuck in there by the pandemic. And then and my family is Cuban. So, you know, all the Cubans are there. So I lived in my grandma's house with my uncle, all the Cuban flavor in there for 5 years. And I made a band in there with only girls. There was five females from Puerto Rico, Afro American, Honduras, and Miami. It was a beautiful, interesting time. You know, we toured the USA, we toured Canada, and you know, after 5 years, I felt like it was time to go back to home. You know,
Yeah.
and I couldn't go exactly to my home because there is a lot of political violence and a lot of things. And my music, as you know, as I'm telling, is very, you know. So I gotta be like every time I go there is like a tricky thing, you know.
Mm.
So I came to live in the border where it's Mexico and Guatemala is. I'm like 6 hours from my hometown in Guatemala.
Okay.
But I live in the mountains in Mexico now, and I have now a band here with all the revolutionary zapatistas. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there is a female trumpet player.
Okay.
There is a violin player that is just like one of the best I ever heard.
Yeah.
There is a jarana player that is like a sort of like a traditional guitar from here, and there is a percussionist from Uruguay, and my brother that has Down syndrome, he plays the marimba
Oh
in the
wow.
Oh,
band,
okay.
and I sing and play the guitar. Yes,
No.
and
No.
my wife plays the widow also too in the band. So it's a big family.
No keyboards, huh?
No keyboards. The keyboards is the marimba. You know, that's
Yeah.
Okay.
the keyboards
Be,
for
yeah.
us. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, now Bob Marley wasn't your only social conscious music artist. Who else was?
Oh man, there is a lot. Like definitely, for example, Ruben Blades. If you find out about like where the salsa movement started, Fania All Stars, and all of these people that started salsa in New
Yeah.
York, there is this guy called Ruben Blades from Panama.
Okay.
Man, he was one of the ones that I was like, what? There is more than just music, you know. There is a message in here. So
Messages.
Yeah.
definitely him, and there is a lot more. You know, there is a lot of musicians that definitely inspired me.
I just want to talk a little bit more about the kind of obvious struggle you've got or had with regards to getting your music heard, and also you can't go home and you'll be very careful. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, was it particularly difficult to find a record label to produce your music?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like because it's like what I do is not pop. You know, it can be popular,
Yeah.
but it's not that pop sound that you usually hear. Is because a lot of that is empty music. So with that, it's easy to like get a record deal and
Yeah.
you know get your career started. Now there's so many reggaeton young artists and all of this. You know, this music scene that is now. So in my case, it took me like several years, more than 10 years. You know,
Yeah.
to get signed by a record label, and it was really like it's not luck because I don't believe there is like luck, but I believe it was the destiny for this producer Ivan Duran to see a video of me performing in the street, actually right here in Mexico, in the same place where I'm living now.
Okay.
And this guy, Ivan Duran, he's an amazing producer, and he produced so many artists from Belize. The record label is based in Belize, Canada.
Okay.
And so he produced a lot of artists from Belize, a lot of legends, African legends from Belize. And then in like about 2011, he wanted to like get some Guatemalan band because we're neighbors, Belize and Guatemala are neighbors. So he wanted to have an artist from there, and he got a bunch of videos and records and everything for a bunch, and he picked me, and he liked that video. He liked my energy the same as our friend in common, and that's how I came into his ears, and we started the process. When I signed the record with him, the deal is for three albums.
Yeah.
We only have released one, and it's almost like 9 years now that I'm in the record label. And now we're about to release the second one. But he told me it's gonna take like about 10 years to like build your career in the professional, in the professional scene, you could say, like something like that, in a professional level. So it's finally coming out, the second album, and I'm just like very excited about it.
Absolutely. With regard to the video that you mentioned, that your record label guy saw, was that just somebody recording you in the street, just like a YouTube video that somebody put up, or how did that video get discovered?
By the record label?
Yeah.
That was a person in the street.
Really?
That was somebody in the crowd that was with a telephone and just filmed the show, and they uploaded to YouTube.
Wow.
And when I type my name, it appeared in there,
Nice.
And I guess this person liked that video, and that's the video that he sent to the label. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, that's a little bit, but there was a lot of struggle in there. I skipped a lot, but it will take a long time to talk about. I like to focus on what we're now. We're focused on the future, on moving forward.
Sure.
And we've done our work in the USA and Canada, and it's time for us to do our work here in our own place too. I'm determined to tour Mexico, Guatemala, and of course we're gonna tour USA and Canada too. But our base is here again.
I really dig what you're doing, especially on the social consciousness, right? Because that's what Music for Global Change is about. The lyrical content is what it's about, right? And so what do you feel about social conscious music, and what's the benefits from it?
Well, the benefits from it is that in the end, you're going to have something that is going to stay with you apart from the rhythm, because you can feel the rhythm and everything. But when a word that has a meaning and a powerful meaning hits you, it goes deeper, I think. I don't know why. It's like there is like something that goes deeper in there that words are very powerful.
Yes, they are.
And like I was so amazed because I got into a lot of hip hop when I was a young age, but I started with Cypress Hill. I started with a lot of bands that were like gangster rap and all of that. And then suddenly I heard Common, I hear Mos Def, I hear Talib Kweli, I hear all of these artists, Lauryn Hill, Fugees, and I start like, whoa, wait a second. These people are like also like Bob Marley, but with a different slang and a different thing. But they're talking about conscience, and they're like elevate your spirit and a bunch of different things that I was very interested. So I think there's been a lack of that since, I could say, I don't know, 2010. I think a lot of music with big content stopped, and I think not stopped, but it merged because a lot of things changed 2010 all the way to 2020. A lot of things changed, I think, in the music. In the 2016, the trap became like so big that nobody would listen to anything else. and now the last year reggaeton. So it's like it's a time where there is a lot of lack of content, but there is also, if we are starting to look, and it's not what is gonna be on your, how do you say, on your feed, but it's gonna be something that you gotta look for. There is some artists that are doing amazing work. You know, there is like a lot of artists that are going back to their roots. For example, there is this guy called Superman. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a Native American.
Okay.
Superman. And man, he's like breakdancing with all his Native American gear, and scratching and beatboxing, and like, and he's, you know what happens with that is that you make the young generation interested in a native or an ancient culture, you know. And that's also the work we've been doing, you know, since in 2011 we did a project with the indigenous native kids from Guatemala. And it was amazing to get them into this ancient knowledge, but everything was through hip hop, to breakdance, rapping, to DJing, to playing music, you know. So it was an amazing experience. So there's a lot of things happening, but we need more. We need more conscious music for real. I'm into very varied music, you know, and some people might think I'm crazy because I also listen to artists that are like mainstream too. I listen to stuff from the 1930s. You know, I love to cook with old music. It depends on the mood, you know. Like if I'm gonna like to dance, I like to dance to my cumbia traditional music from here. You know, I love jazz music too. My aunt is a jazz player, and I come from a musical family. You know.
Wow.
Also, the mainstream artists, I like to analyze why people are liking so much this, and how can we translate that into something better, into a deeper message. We cannot be too like far from what is happening now, otherwise it's just not gonna call the new generation, who is the ones that we need to actually focus on.
Wow.
I just want to ask how people get hold of what you're up to. I mean, are you on any kind of YouTube channel or anything like that?
Yes, I am all over the internet. Like if you type my name, the word doctor, and then native with an O in the end, Nativo, native O.
Okay.
In YouTube, in all of the platforms that you can imagine. And also we have a website, www.drnativo.com, with all the new record, of the new record stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, you can check me out everywhere.
Fantastic.
Well, listen, thank you for coming on, my brother, and taking the time.
I'm very honored also to meet both of you. You know,
We appreciate it.
Namaste, my brother. Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.